actually sat down and started writing it, and so the script started to come out. And then Sue suggested I enter the Idol and try it out, and so it's Roscoe, and it's a story based on mythological demons, magic, and dragons, and so far so good.
Did you meet Susan in CAG, or did you know Susan before you joined CAG?
Actually, I haven't met anyone in CAG until I went to the ConnectiCon last year in 2007, and Matt Ryan shifted me and my friends to the CAG table and influenced me to sign up. And I had just graduated college, so I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah. Artistically speaking, did you, in your early artistic phase, do more drawing or more writing?
Well, I've been drawing for as long as I could remember. Like, I think starting in my first year of high school is when I really got into drawing, like, comic book style and stuff. And then I just started getting influenced by some manga style as well, and sort of had both merge of the two together. And then I'm like, maybe I should try drawing or writing my own story, see how it goes. And since then, like, I wrote like 2 stories, and then my senior year of high school, I actually made a comic strip for the high school newspaper called Sky High, which I still have the originals from, and I'm like, wow, I think I could do this. And then, so I went to school, and then college, I got into the arts, figure drawing, every art class I could take until I graduated. Cool. So here I am.
Bless you. Bless you. Shanti, you mentioned to me earlier today that you went through a fairies phase, and now you drew fairies, and now you're drawing vampires. Do you still draw fairies, and what made you more interested in vampires than fairies, and are they connected in your creative mind?
Oh boy. Well, see, the problem with my whole thing that I made is that it's really all tied in together. It's not just like, oh, I want to draw fairies now, and then I'm going to draw some vampires. In my story, everything is graduated, so you will get to see everything that I have made all in one nice little place. It's not very bright there, though. I'll warn you of that right now.
So, did you start drawing first or coming up with stories first?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Yes.
My mom was an art model for a women's group in Connecticut, and that's how I got babysitting. So I learned to draw figures, studies, things like that when I was 3, 4, could hold chalk, around then. And never really let go of the chalk.
So it wasn't just bonding with your mom, you got into it?
No, she was up there.
Well, you know, she's a subject matter if you're drawing her.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I started drawing everything. It wasn't just me drawing my mom. So after that, I would try to figure out how to draw things like horses when I was 8 and stuff like that. That was great. So now I can draw horses too.
And
really well.
In addition to creating your own material, you do one of the things that a lot of CAG members do, which is you team up with other creators to create material.
I do?
Don't you? Did you do some inking or cover coloring or not?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I'm really single-minded.
Okay. So well, your collaborative activity is participating in the group.
My collaborative activity is participating in the group, and I am open to working with other artists. In fact, on my book, I have another artist that I work with because I have a character who is an artist. And I am methodical enough to insist on having another artist represent him.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't have it be looking like my stuff. I didn't paint it. Andreas did. So there's that. I like featuring artists in my book that are unknown or want to be known. So I have a couple people featured in the back of my book, either from other free lunch publications to help spread the love, or I have a gentleman who actually works a lot in making models for movies, and he wants to work on his fine arts again, so I put one of his pieces in my book. Other than that, I will work with other people. I'm not against it at all. It just hasn't come up.
When you feature someone else's art in your book, with the exception of when it's part of the story, are you getting them to do art that's related to your universe, or is it just sort of, and here's some peeps that I like, something short from them?
No, actually, all of it, it's either fan work or it is related in some way to the story. With one piece, like I said, he does a lot of stuff for movies, models and things for movies. He does architecture. So he happened to do this gargoyle with wings that's a girl and looks like she's from my story, perched on the church I drew. But he did it in 1992. So
it's
it works.
a group mind inspiration.
Right, exactly. It's like mine's same soul.
And Lindsay, you told me that you were interested in becoming an actress before you were interested in becoming a writer, but you want to write for comics. A lot of the times when an actor starts writing, they're writing to write material for themselves to perform. What inspired you to want to write comic book stories?
It's just a great medium, and I think really when I went to the New York Comic Con a couple of weeks ago, I realized that comic books are so important to everyone in a way that they do know, and so many other people that they don't know. Because I don't know, I saw a Jedi Knight class where people were teaching children how to fight like Jedi Knights, and I was like, this is so amazing. Children, I mean people of all ages, are seeing superheroes and comic book characters, and they're learning to want to be more than they could ever dream to be, and to be the impossible, and to have great morals, and to be a representative of society that is something more than normal. And I am really inspired by that. I want to be a part of that, inspiration, and I want to contribute that. And I feel like comic books does that more so than anything, more than movies, more than novels. It hits such a wide variety of people, and even, young and old and any age. So that's really what it is.
So I want Rachel Kadushin to be last every time. So what got you started? Were you writing stories? Were you drawing paintings? In your creative process, what led you to doing comics or sequential art?
The Los Hernandez brothers.
Did everyone hear that? Okay, could you say it again?
The Los Hernandez brothers, who are the artists and writers of Love and Rockets. I grew up in comics, but no comic ever inspired me until I picked up an issue of Love and Rockets. And something about Love and Rockets, the reality of the story just blew me away. And I can relate to it. There were two strong female characters who had faults. They weren't perfect, but they also had adventures. And the adventures weren't superheroes. The adventures were more like everyday walking down the street, dealing with their friends, going to shows. And it just resonated with me. But it wasn't until many years later I decided to finally do it on my own.
Cool. Well, I'm going to stay on you for a second because we're collaborating on a project. One of the reasons why I enjoy CAG is the idea of collaborating, and I came up with a story idea that went with some of the things that Rachel Kadushin was interested in. She wrote me a little note during a CAG meeting. She said, Rachel, do you want to collaborate on a webcomic? And I'm like, well, I didn't have an idea yet, but maybe. And so we sat down and talked about it, and I liked